The difference between this AFC Wimbledon side, this AFC Wimbledon team, and the AFC Wimbledon team from last season, character, resilience, camaraderie, the willingness to keep pursuing a result despite all odds. Almost every game, it seems like, against Bolton, down 3-1, scored 2 goals in the second half in the span of 3 minutes, actually. 3-3. Against Ipswich, down 2-0, scored 2 goals. Those 2 goals were more spread out throughout the half, though. Against Oxford, 1-0 down, equalized, and then scored 2 goals in the span of like 3 minutes later in that half. This game, it's just a seesaw, man. I have mixed emotions, but I have my players that I thought did fantastic today, and I have my players that I thought really could have shown more. One of those players on my nice list, so to speak, if we're referring to Christmas terms, is Henry Lawrence. I'm going to start off from left back to right back and go all the way up to the striking position. Henry Lawrence, one of them in my nice list. I feel like he was decent on the offensive front. He didn't see the ball as much as he normally would if he were to be an attack-minded outside back. But when he was on the ball, he was solid, and he was a very, very big X factor for that second goal that Ethan Chislett scored. Threw it into Nightingale. Nightingale touched it back to him. Took a really quick first touch down the line, then took a heavy touch down the goal line, beating his defender. His defender was Cooney, I believe. No, it was it was Gnawa. And then he nutmegs O'Connor, places the ball down to the top of the 18 to Ethan Chislett. It was slightly bouncing, but Chislett connected with sweet precision. And, with the laces, near post, very good finish from Ethan Chislett. Number 2, Che Alexander. I feel like he was our most established defender today. Usually when you think of established and consistent defenders, you think of the center backs. They're the rocks in the back, right? Nightingale was kind of spotty. He had his moments. He won some headers, but then every now and again, like that second goal, I think it was mostly Woodyard's fault. Failed to track back. Failed to track Shea McCloughlin's run. Kind of caught ball watching, and McCloughlin had a free run to the top of the 18. But I feel like Nightingale, his positioning could have been slightly better as well. Ball went over his head. To be fair, it was a really good ball that was played in from Gnawa, who assisted Shea McCloughlin. But anyway, Henry Lawrence. And then Che Alexander, fantastic defender today. There were a couple of instances, one coming in the first half, where I gave him some stick earlier this season for getting caught too high on the top of the 6 in the center and getting those balls played over the top. But he was aligned firmly on that back post. Ball was intended for, it was a ball over the top, intended for Delaney, I think it was. But then Delaney took a touch. It did go over McCloughlin's head, but his positioning was solid. It wasn't like if Delaney would have been in the back post, Che Alexander probably would have contested for the header. But it went over his head, tracked the ball, and then ended up sticking his foot out after Delaney took a touch and was about to take a shot. Stuck his foot out, cleared it away. And then in the second half, when Morecambe decided to sub in Wes McDonald and have Delaney as an outside back rather than an outside mid, McDonald was a very pacey player, is a very dangerous individual, but a lot of times McDonald would force it back to his right foot because Che Alexander wouldn't give up that run down the goal line. So a lot of times Wes McDonald would forcefully play it back to his right foot and play the ball in, or play it back to Diego Regard, play it back to the center back. So nicely done by Che Alexander there. And there was another instance in which there was a cross played in by Wildig, I think it was, intended for either Stockton or Gnawa on the back post. And as cool as you like, Che Alexander chests it down, and then first touch after the chest down plays it square over to the other side to Ethan Chislett. Completely cool, calm, and collected in that moment from Che Alexander. Wasn't as much of an offensive threat as, say, Henry Lawrence was, but defensively, sound. Anthony Hartigan, as always, absolute goldmine in terms of deliveries. I mean, fantastic delivery to Will Nightingale on the back post for the third goal. And wouldn't you know it, the first goal to open the proceedings, fantastic. Shades of Tony Kroos versus Sweden in the World Cup 2018 group stage. Fantastic free kick. Solid. Anthony Hartigan at this point in the season is an absolute must start each and every game. And if we're going to continue playing the 4-2-3-1, perhaps next game we could have George Marsh starting over Alex Woodyard. Perhaps he did come in as a substitute around the 74th minute or so. Didn't see the ball too much and didn't have too much of an impact on the game. But I would like to see more of George Marsh this season. Maybe next game have him starting over Woodyard. I think Woodyard was a little disappointing today. But I'm sure Woodyard will bounce back. He's a quality player. Ayub Assal, very good all game. Quick off the ball runs. There were a couple of instances in which Ollie Palmer dropped deep and played the likes of Mabude and Assal out wide. That I would have to give credit for Palmer. Didn't have too much of an impact aside from that first goal in which he knocked it down with his chest. Or his foot. No, it was he came and received the ball and then played it outside of Mabude. Mabude got fouled, and that's what led to the goal from Hartigan. But Palmer played well. He won 80% of the aerial exchanges, won a couple of knockdowns on the heading, on the instances in which he was going for the header, contesting against Gibson and O'Connor for the headers. Nicely done by Palmer. Assal was all over the place. Mabude was very quick, took a couple heavy touches around his defenders on a couple of instances. Very good work from Mabude. Did get subbed off eventually, as well as Chislett. And then the substitutes. Guinness Walker didn't have too much time, but was instrumental. He did shrug off his defender after a good ball played by Hartigan. Shrugged off his defender and then tried to blast it near post, but it was deflected. Corner kick, played in by Hartigan, headed away, but not far enough away. And, of course, that was the goal. That was scored by Ayub Assal. Beautiful, by the way. Completely against the run of play. Ganawa went for the header. Bounced off his shoulder. Bounced off the thigh of Assal. Assal took it one time across his body. Top corner, bar down. Beautiful goal. I mean, the goals that were scored this game were world class. Notably, the goal that was scored by Cole Stockton when AFC Wimbledon were up. It was 2-2 after the equalizer. A few minutes later, Cole Stockton. Header won by Nightingale. Header won by O'Connor on the other side. Header knocked down by Ganawa. Stockton takes a touch, but he's facing away from goal. Shoulder towards the goal. Hits it with his lace all the way up and over Nick Tzanev. I don't know what Tzanev was thinking in that instance. He probably expected that header from Ganawa to go all the way to him. Ran up, kind of anticipated, overextended. And, I mean, it's just a quality goal from Cole Stockton, really. Couldn't have placed it any better. It was straight up and over. I didn't think it was going to go in at first, but it did. It did bounce off, hit the underside of the crossbar. I mean, Cole Stockton, 7 goals in the season for Morecambe. He is going to be an absolute threat, absolute force for Morecambe this season. He kind of came out of nowhere, right? His highest goal tally was only 5 for Morecambe on a loan spell in 2016-2017. All of a sudden, he scores 13 last season, and now he's on 7 goals in 5 appearances. But that being said, wishy-washy second half, but the difference between this AFC Wimbledon side and AFC Wimbledon teams in previous seasons, character, resilience, camaraderie, mental fortitude, which is something that has been instilled by Mark Robinson that has been kind of lacking with managers in previous seasons with Wally Downs and Glenn Hodges. So I'm really happy to see that from AFC Wimbledon. Mental fortitude, baby. That's going to go... Mental fortitude and set pieces. Those are the 2 biggest aspects of AFC Wimbledon's game that have vastly improved. And I think Ollie Palmer... Ollie Palmer is a good target man, but mainly for the knockdowns. Ben Hennigan, Nightingale, good target men for the ones that could knot it in. For the players that can knot it in. Of course, Ollie Palmer has a couple headed goals already, one against Gillingham in which he was on the receiving end of a cross. But set pieces, man. Anthony Hartigan's a gold mine. I'm telling you. Mixed emotions. I'm glad we came away with the win. Not the most impressive performance in terms of consistency throughout the game. First half was solid. We kept Morecambe at bay. Morecambe were playing a lot of sideways passing amidst their back 4 and their center mids and their outside mids. Didn't create anything really, Morecambe, that first half. But the second half, it was just inconsistency in the first 10 minutes from AFC Wimbledon. But they showed the character to be able to come back from it. That third goal was just Stockton being Stockton. Such a good goal. Fantastic. Probably the goal of the season, really. But AFC Wimbledon now going to tackle the next game. Hopefully can get a couple goals against Shrewsbury, and Shrewsbury not really known to be a good attacking side. So hopefully we can get another win there. 3rd place in the league table. Let's go, boys. Move on to the next. Come on, you Dons.